at some point, in the midst of all the complaints, behind all the frustrations, that we have to realize there's a common denominator behind all of that. And that common denominator is ourselves. We are the source to our conflicts. We are also the source to our own solutions. But we can't move from one pole to the other if we're not willing to self reflect. And honestly, this is the main anchor or the weight behind most of the clashing or the lack of interplay, you know, that drives relationships. And that is a lack of self reflection and a recognition and having the intelligence to recognize what we're mirroring back to each other and what can we understand and learn from what's being projected, because we're all projecting something into our relationships. Life is just one big projection. And what life does, it records, duplicates it, and just replays it right back to us. And it's continual until someone disrupts the pattern. And that pattern disruption is going to be driven by you and I. Now, here's the thing. A lot of us might have heard that we are all of each other. In other words, we're connatural. We have we're connect. We have a connatural reality to us. Because in other words, it means we all share in the same spirit, the same nature, which reflects the universal principle of oneness. We are mirrors of each other. We all reflect of each other. Now, there's things that we're willing to accept in that reflection, and there's things that we will deflect, out of that reflection. But at the end of the day, it's still all tied to each other. When we get to a space to understand that we all bring the positive and negative experiences to each other that's being grown in our situations, we recognize that we have a connection to it, then we can kind of start to graduate to understand then we're the ones going to have to determine how we're going to reroute some of these patterns or reorchestrate some of the experiences that we're now labeling as our relationship. Okay? The label we put on the relationship is based upon the experiences that we have. This way, some people vent a lot about relationships, and some people really are just at a state of peace, a state of calm, and they're drawing a lot from it. But it all reflects back to us. And it all could be traced to what we project into a relationship. And then it also can trace to the functionality of the relationship can be traced to our ability to operate in the interplay versus operating in resistance. And so those that primarily operate in resistance are the ones that are going to pretty much have more of the complaints, more of the unfavorable situations. They're not going to speak highly favorable or highly functional about the relationship because they're more in a state of resistance versus someone else is in a state of interplay, which they have more of a reflective view, more of an ownership view, and more of a unifying intent behind what they do. So I hope that makes sense.